When Marcus Thorne, dressed in a simple hoodie and jeans, stepped into the high-end branch of his bank, he didn't expect judgment. He only wanted to withdraw some cash, but the bank manager, Mr. Davies, scoffed within minutes, flagged him as suspicious, and refused the transaction. Before we continue, tell us where in the world are you watching from? Drop it in the comments below. And if you enjoy this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more powerful content like this. What the manager didn't know was that Marcus wasn't just a customer. He was the majority owner of the institution where he was being denied service. 9 minutes later, with one phone call and a silent stare, the arrogant manager's world flipped upside down. This is the shocking story of how power, prejudice, and karma collided in a bank lobby. Marcus Thorne had built his empire from the ground up with no handouts and no shortcuts. From a single-room apartment to owning one of the country's fastest-growing financial groups, he had never let people's assumptions stop him. Still, prejudice wasn't new to him. Even in boardrooms, he'd learned to swallow the discomfort when people mistook him for the help, or when clients insisted on speaking to the real boss. Today, he was running a low-key errand, visiting one of his branches undercover. He liked to do that sometimes, to test how his employees treated everyday customers. Marcus entered the bank quietly and waited in line like anyone else, holding a withdrawal slip for $12,000, petty cash by his standards. The branch manager, Mr. Davies, noticed Marcus almost immediately, and not in a kind way. Wait a second and tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. When Marcus reached the front of the line, the teller looked nervous, glancing toward Mr. Davies before hesitantly calling out, "We need the manager for cash withdrawals over $10,000. Davies approached with a forced smile, his eyes filled with suspicion. "Sir," he said flatly, "I'm going to need some identification and possibly a reason for this withdrawal." Marcus calmly handed over 2 forms of ID and a business card. Mr. Davies barely glanced at them. "This doesn't look right," he snapped. "We don't usually allow this kind of transaction without prior notice, and honestly, I'm not sure you have this kind of money in your account." He stepped away and whispered something to security. A guard began to approach slowly, his posture tense. Marcus stayed perfectly calm, his hands resting on the counter. "I assure you, everything is in order. You may want to double-check my account details." Davies sneered, his voice dripping with condescension. "I've dealt with people like you before. All talk, no backing. Unless you can prove right now that you're not trying to scam us, I'll have to ask you to leave." The guard was now just a few feet away, his hand resting on his hip, ready to intervene. The air in the bank grew thick with tension as other customers started to notice the confrontation. Have you ever been in a situation where someone judged you instantly without knowing a single thing about you? What would you do? Marcus sighed, a look of disappointment crossing his face, and pulled out his phone. He dialed a private number, and within seconds, someone on the other end answered. "Sarah, it's Marcus," he said, his voice even. "I'm at the downtown branch. We've got a serious customer service issue. I need the regional director and HR on the line. Put me on speaker." Davies just rolled his eyes. "Sir, threatening to call someone won't work here," he said with a smug grin. But Marcus said firmly, "Just wait." Within 90 seconds, Mr. Davies's own phone began to ring. He looked down, and his smug expression melted away as he saw the regional director's name flashing on the screen. He answered, trying to sound composed. "Hello?" His eyes widened. Yes, he's here. I wasn't aware. I didn't know." Then came the final blow. The voice on the other end of the line was loud enough for Marcus and the nearby teller to hear clearly. "That's not just a client, Davies. That's Marcus Thorne, the CEO and your boss." Mr. Davies turned pale, his lips trembling as he stared at the man in the hoodie. "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't realize." Marcus locked eyes with him, his calm demeanor now feeling like a powerful weight. "You didn't care to realize," he stated. "That's the problem." The security guard, hearing the exchange, immediately backed away, his professional mask returning. Davies stammered, trying to piece together an excuse, but Marcus raised his hand to silence him. "Save it," he said, his voice cutting through the manager's desperate apologies. "This isn't just about me. How many others have you profiled?